Hello, today we're going to be creating a simple game by exploring another method from the library random that will allow us this simple rock, paper, scissors game in Python. While coding this game, you're going to be learning about how to use the random.choice method from the library, learning about the input to get user input, as well as learning about infinite loops and if statements. Additionally, by the end of the video, I'm going to be introducing you to challenges that you can try on your own to further develop this simple game. Okay, let's start. Before we begin any coding, make sure that your Python installation is correct and that you're using an IDE or you have any type of way to execute the code. Let's start with the concept of the game. It's gonna be you against the computer. You're gonna be able to provide your input and then the computer is gonna come up with a random decision. And then, based on certain type of logic, your decision is going to be compared against the computer's decision. And it's going to win or it's going to lose, or if both are the same, it's just gonna end up in a tie. Now that we have the concept and the idea that we want to code, we can start deciding what type of variables are we going to be using, such as a list, string, integer, etc. The random.choice method from the library random returns a randomly selected element from a sequence. This can be either a list, a string, etc. Anything that is a sequence can be therefore used by this method. Here, I'm going to showcase a very simple example of how to use the random.choice method with this list. I'm going to create this list with the options that we want in the game. Now, if I go here and import the random library, or I can also do something easier like this. Instead of importing the whole library, I can just decide to import the method that we want to use for this game. Like this, from the library random, import choice. Let's create this resort variable that is going to store the method's output. So I'm going to be printing this variable and then let's run it to see. If you see here, we got a random element from the list. If we run it again, we can see something different. Every time it runs, we're getting different elements from the list. This is perfect for our game. Now that we created this list, we can grab the user's input and simply store it in this variable called user input. Inside the parentheses, we can write, please write your decision. Remember to leave some space here so when you write in the command line, the words are not bunched together. Now don't forget to print the user input so that you can also see it working. Now let's run this. Here, please write something. Let's write something like Josh and hit enter, and there you see, working correctly. Now we have the list that we're going to be using for the elements and the user input variable. What's remaining is to decide what logic are we going to be running for this. You can either have a combination of if statements. I don't recommend this, but you can also do what I'm doing in this video using dictionaries. If you're going to go for the first choice and create if statements, remember that you have 3 options and the computer also has 3 options, meaning that 3 times 3 is a total of 9 combinations, meaning you will have to write 9 if statements to check for every combination. For this tutorial, we're going to be using a dictionary. If you don't know, a dictionary is a type of variable that allows us to contain data in a specific format, in key value pairs. That means that for every key, there's a value inside of it. Now let me erase all of this. Let's create a simple dictionary. I'm going to be naming it options dict. This is a very simple example of a dictionary and how we use it. To be able to use a dictionary, you have to reference the key like this. This is going to return the value inside the key, and then you can do something very interesting. That is, like printing the value of the key food and seeing what happens. Due to my recording, you can't see the terminal, but you should be able to see Apple in the command line if you run it yourself. Now that's a simple dictionary, but let's try to modify it for our game. I'm going to have the 3 options, rock, paper, and scissors, and due to the properties of the dictionary, you can do something very interesting. That is, to have a dictionary inside every key as its value. Inside this key, let's create a subkey with a winning and losing condition. When the user chooses rock and the computer chooses paper, it's a loss. On the other hand, when the computer instead chooses scissors, it's a win. Let's erase the rest just to show you how it works. Similar to what we were doing with the key food and printing the value inside the key, when the user inputs the word rock, it's going to return the dictionary inside of it. And what happens if I choose the key scissor inside this dictionary? It's going to return the value win, meaning that the user won the match. This is the core of our logic. That is, to have a dictionary inside every key as its value. By doing it this way, we're avoiding having to create too many if statements to check for every single possible combination between your input and the computer input. Like imagine, you're given 3 choices and the computer also has 3 choices. So instead of creating a total of 9 if statements to check for all this, you can very easily do it this way and save you the trouble. Now, I have the complete dictionary that I'm going to be using. Let's move to the next part of our logic, and in this case, to be continuously running, we want to have a game loop. So in every type of system, such as applications, games, programs, etc., there's always a constant loop that continuously runs to be able to always be updating the system and receive information. We don't want our game to end after one single match. So let's create an infinite while loop. I'm going to create this variable here called run and set it equal to true. Later, we're going to create the stopping condition so that the loop doesn't run infinitely and ends up crashing the program. Let's copy the user input and paste it here. I'm going to use this variable continue game to determine if the player wants to keep going by using the input method. Let's create an if statement to check the user's answer. If it's yes, then we're going to grab the user's decision and then create also the computer's decision variable that generates the random element. And using the logic we have explained before about the dictionary, let's create the variable result, which is going to store the outcome of the match. Also, don't forget to print the result. If the user instead doesn't want to continue playing, then we just print something like have a nice day and turn the variable run into false and stop the while loop. I created a mistake without noticing, and I hope you were able to catch it faster than me. If you kept following my code earlier, you will have noticed an error, and it's because of how our logic is working. An error occurs when both the user and the computer makes the same choice. So let's create this if statement to solve that issue and end it in a tie. Now let's run this just to see if it's working. Do you want to keep playing? Yes. Please write your decision, paper. I decided to play a couple more times, but you can see in the terminal that it's obviously working. Now, here are the challenges that I want to give you so you keep practicing this code. First, create a way to store the total amount of wins and losses. This can be very helpful. Second, maybe add more options instead of just rock, paper, and scissors. I don't know, shotgun, something like that. And then third, add a display that allows you to see the score during the game. That way you don't have to maybe wait until after the program finishes to see your score. As I say in another video, it's always important to keep challenging you. It's always important to keep trying new things and modifying the code and making this code that you see here yours, because that's how you learn coding. That's how you're able to keep practicing and modifying and improving. Ciao.